Let's welcome the YouTube audience back who will watch this on the video on demand to the 13th of May, 1871. Again, the 1-5 Troy Haymakers playing the 2-1 Fort Wayne. I'm sorry, not Fort Wayne Kekiungas, the New York Mutuals. Your starting lineups here. Starting with the visiting Troy Haymakers. Leading off will be shortstop Jimmy Hallinan. He's batting .375 so far this season with 1 RBI. I'm sorry, yeah, he's the shortstop. Batting second is right fielder Chipper Flynn. He's currently batting .240. He's got 3 RBIs himself. Batting third will be Ezra Sutton on third base. 3 RBIs for him as well. Batting an impressive batting a struggling 143. Fred Tracy, the left fielder, is going to be in the 4 spot. He is batting .296 currently, but he does have 1 home run and 6 RBIs, a team leading 6 ribbies for Fred Tracy. Batting fifth is first baseman Jim Foran. He's got a home run, 4 RBIs as well, batting .296 so far this season. Batting sixth will be Bill Craver, the second baseman. He's got 1 RBI, batting .321. Patty Quinn in center field will be the 7th spot for the Troy Haymakers. He is currently batting .286 on the season. Bill Lennon, the catcher, is in the 8th spot. He's one of 2, or I should say 3 players on this team still looking for a hit against Ronnie Wolters here. He's currently batting .053 on the season, but does have 2 RBIs. And then batting 9th is pitcher Harry Wright, batting .385 with 2 RBIs himself. He will also take the mound for the Troy Haymakers. He is 1-3 with a 3.1 ERA, 1.9 WHIP, and a 1.2 strikeout per 9 innings with a 1.9 walks per 9 innings as well. This is his first matchup against the New York Mutuals. And speaking of the New York Mutuals, let's go over their starting lineup. Batting first is the second baseman Mike McGarry, averaging .267 so far this season. He's got 3 RBIs in his season so far. Again, New York's only played 3 games. Steve Bellin is going to be the third baseman, batting .231 with 2 RBIs. Batting third will be Cal McVeigh, the catcher. He's got 1 ribby and batting .429 on the season. Henry Burroughs is the left fielder. He's also batting 4th, currently with 2 RBIs, batting right at the Mendoza line at 200. Ronnie Wolters, the pitcher, bats 5th. He's batting .333 with 3 RBIs so far this season. Art Allison is batting in the 6th spot. The center fielder has got 2 RBIs, batting .357. He has a hit in each of his 2 at-bats against pitcher Harry Wright. Charlie Papor is the 7th spot hitter. He's got 7 RBIs, which is team leading. It's the most of any of these for any of these 2 teams in today's lineups, or today's matchup, I should say. He's batting .462 as well. Very impressive. George Ewell bats 8th. He's the first baseman. He's got 1 RBI, batting .071, really struggling so far this season. And then batting 9th is pitcher Pete Donnelly, who has an average of .231. He's got 3 RBIs as well. Not only that, but we've got Ronnie Wolters on the mound for the New York Mutuals. He is 2-1 so far this season with a 1.73 ERA. He's got 1 WHIP, 1 strikeout per 9 innings, 1.4 walks per 9 innings. Those are your starting lineups. Let's get into the game, shall we? It is the Troy Haymakers visiting the Union Grounds in Brooklyn, New York, on this matchup here against the New York Mutuals. And for those of you who are new here, who might not have seen the baseball before, we normally stream Football Manager. We stream a variety of games on this stream, on Football Manager, Action Time In, Pangya, Hearts of Iron, Rise of Nations. We stream it all. But we also, when we do Out of the Park, keep score. So if you're wondering why I keep looking down in the middle of tonight's broadcast, it's because we have a scorebook, and we will be keeping score of tonight's game. In fact, I can flip 3 pages prior and show you guys that we have scores from the previous matchups that we've done so far this season. Now I got to track back to the actual current page. So, yeah, we do keep score. We're glad to bring Out of the Park back. We probably will make this a weekly series. And we might do it. We might use it to help break up the long Football Manager streams that we have on the weekends too. So expect maybe, potentially, some Out of the Park on the weekends as well. But if you miss anything, it'll be on the YouTube. We're going to be uploading the videos once every 3 games. Bro, Benny, we got to start sorting out my raids. I tried raiding every account. I couldn't do it. Tried to raid you as well. Going off games, I don't have any options that should restrict me from raiding. I don't know if it's a setting that you have turned on. And I don't know what that setting would be, if I'm honest with you. But we'll go through it. We'll go through it all on Wednesday, my brother. We'll go through Twitch settings. We'll go through everything on Wednesday, my man. Right. Troy Haymakers, New York Mutuals. Here we go from the Union Grounds in Brooklyn, New York. It is the first pitch, and Riney Walters will take the mound first. That one swung on. It's over to first base. Pitcher comes up. It's an error. It's an error. Riney Walters over to first base. It is an was that E4? Or does that count as E5? What the hell? It's been so long since I scored, I forgot if you go around the first. I think it's E3, actually, to be fair. I think it's the E3, right? It's been so long since I've scored, I forgot the position numbers. Yes, E3. No, I'm sorry. That is, that's an E. Yeah, it would be a throwing error. It's E3. So Jimmy Holland is aboard on E3. And that brings up Chipper Flynn. Here's the first pitch to Flynn. He lays the bunt down over to the first base side. Over to first, and that is going to be the out. So that's a sac bunt. And that will move Jimmy Holland over to second base. Runner in scoring position now with just a single out. That brings up Ezra Sutton for the Troy Haymakers. You got the perfect voice for this. I thank you. Everyone tells me I have a very good voice for radio and broadcasting, and honestly, it took me a long time as a commentator to believe it. I honestly thought for the first 2 to 3 years of my CS commentary career, I did not have a great sound, but I'm starting to believe it now. Right. Here's the first pitch to Sutton. That's taken inside for a ball. 1-0. 1-0 pitch. That is taken low and outside for ball 2. And it's 2-0. Jimmy Holland in. Still on second base. Ronnie Walters with a 2-0 pitch to Ezra Sutton. That is taken down the chute for a called strike. And it is 2-1. Sorry, I'm just trying to sort out my thing so I can see myself a little bit in the preview. Right. Right. The 2-1 pitch to Ezra Sutton. Swung on. That's popped up right in the infield, right above home plate. And over to make the catch will be Cal McVeigh. And that's going to go down as a P2. And that is out number 2. Oh my God, my Discord notification was about 20 minutes late. Wow. Right. That brings up Fred Tracy, the left fielder. Here's the first pitch to Tracy. That's taken for a strike on the inside part of the plate. And it is 0-1. Tracy kicks, delivers. I'm sorry, that is Ronnie Walters who kicks, delivers, and that's taken low for a ball. 1-1. 1-1 pitch to Fred Tracy. Swung on, grounded back over to the shortstop. On to first. Oh, and he's dropped it. That is an E6. It's a throwing error on the shortstop. Fred Tracy gets aboard. It moves Jimmy Holland in 90 feet away. And it'll be runners on the corners now with 2 outs here in the top of the first. Jim Foran will be the next batter up, the first baseman. An opportunity to capitalize on 2 errors this inning for the New York Mutuals. Here's the first pitch. That's taken inside for ball number 1. 1-0 pitch to Jim Foreign is taken for outside for a ball, and Fred Tracy takes off for second base. He steals second. And now there's 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 out. I wanted to move this up. You guys should be able to see. Let me take Firefox audio off. You guys should be able to hear the game. Yes, the game is there. Okay. Right. The 2-0 pitch to Jim Foreign. Swung on. That's popped right. That's going to go foul. Right down the third base side. Wynn takes it, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, 2 men left on base. We go to the bottom of the first. It is no score. Due up first for the New York Mutuals will be second baseman Mike McGarry. He's facing Harry Wright. Here's the first pitch to McGarry. That's taken inside. Ball 1. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's chopped foul behind home plate. It'll be 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. Swung on back over towards the shortstop. On to first in time, and that'll be the first out of the inning. (6-3) on the putout. Jimmy Holland and over to Jim Foreign, and that brings up Steve Bellin, the third baseman. He's currently batting .231 with 2 RBIs so far this season. Here's the first pitch to him. That's taken away for a ball. 1-0. The 1-0 pitch. Swung on, grounded back up to short. Over to first, and that's in time for the second out of the inning. 6-3. 6-3. So far for the New York Mutuals. That will bring up the catcher, Cal McVeigh. Currently batting .429 on the season. Here's the first pitch to him. That's inside. Ball 1. Harry Wright kicks and delivers. Taken for a called strike. And it's 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's taken low. Ball 2. And then the count goes to 2-1 here. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That's grounded back up to short again. Over to first in time, and all 3 outs. 6-3. No runs, no hits, nobody left. 3 up, 3 down in the inning. We go to the top of the second, and it is 0-0. We're going to take a quick 60-second timeout. We'll be back with more in just a minute. Right, welcome back, everybody. We got ourselves the top of the second inning here in Brooklyn, New York. And due up first is going to be second baseman Bill Craver. He's, oh, baseball fan with the subscription. Thank you, you didn't have to subscribe, bro. Thank you, congratulations, baseball fan. You are the 100th sub of the year. Congratulations. I didn't prepare anything for that, so I apologize. Unless you stream yourself, and then I'll definitely give you some gifted subs if you stream yourself, my man. But thank you very much, man. That's super appreciative. I can't even believe we hit that mark. That's insane, my guy. That's actually genuinely insane. So thank you so much, man. I know that baseball is not the premier content that I produce. So the fact that you've come in here and dropped that in and of itself is just incredible. That's very generous of you. Thank you so much. We are that has flustered me so much I completely lost track of what I was doing. And that's not your fault. By any stretch of the imagination. Right. We've got the second inning here. Bill Craver to bat. Let's get underway. I need to check the pitch count. Okay. Let's get underway with the second inning here. Bill Craver steps in. Oh, he's hit the first pitch. That's pretty well hit into center. But right there under the play is going to be Art Allison, and that'll be a F8 on the scorecard. And one away here in the second inning. That brings up the center fielder, Patty Quinn. And here's the first pitch. And he's going to swing at the first pitch. That's going to go foul down the third base side. Count is 0-1 to Patty Quinn. Here's the pitch. That's taken high and in for a ball, 1-1. Right, the 1-1 pitch. Chop foul. That'll go behind home plate, and that is going to bring the count to 1-2 here. 1-2 pitch taken inside off the plate for a ball. And the batter here, Patty Quinn, has fought the count back to 2-2. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on. That's lined into center field. But again, underneath it's going to be Art Allison. It's another F8. And that'll be the second out of the inning here. That brings up catcher Bill Lennon, who has got 2 RBIs on really just 1 hit so far this season, and 19 at-bats to the plate. It'll be the first pitch to Bill Lennon now here. That is taken away, ball 1. The 1-0 pitch. Called strike, and it's 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Called strike right down the chute. And it's 1-2 now to Bill Lennon. Here's the pitch. That's swung on, lined into left field. Left fielder is there. It's over his head, and Bill Lennon's got his second hit of the season. And not only that, it's going to be a triple for Bill Lennon. Safe is the call at third base. And Bill Lennon's got himself aboard with a 2-out triple here in the top of the 9th inning. I'm sorry, top of the 2nd inning. Top of the 9th inning. I'm getting way ahead of myself. Top of the 2nd inning. I beg your pardon. Wright. Pitcher Harry Wright steps in. He's batting .385 so far this season. He's got a runner 90 feet away. Here's the first pitch. That's taken for a called strike. And it's 0-1. That's a good pitch right on the outside corner. A fastball. Here's the 0-1. Swung on. It's grounded over to third base. On to first in time. And that will retire the side. So 5-3 on the put out. They cannot bring the runner home. It is no runs on 1 hit. And 1 man left on base. We go to the bottom of the 2nd. No score. Due up first for the New York Mutuals will be left fielder Harry Burroughs. Burroughs here currently batting .200 on the season. Here's the first pitch to him. That is swung on and missed. First strike 1. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Outside for a ball. 1-1. Baseball fan, if you're the guy that commented on my YouTube, man, I did this. I brought this back just for you, my guy. Just for you, because you were like, where's the baseball content? I'm like, you know what? It's been a month. The man is right. We need to bring the baseball content back. So, yeah, we need to mix it in and make it a regular occurrence, quite frankly. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, that's popped up right towards the third base side. And over there is third baseman Ezra Sutton, and he will get the out for the first out of the inning. It just means that peer pressure works, damn it. I'm teasing, but, you know, I saw that. I was like, he's right. It's been a month. So I didn't even realize it had been a month. Right. I'm sorry, not Harry Wright. Riney Walters, the pitcher, at bat here. Batting .333. Base is empty. 1 out. He takes the first pitch on the inside part of the plate for strike number 1. Here's the 0-1. Taken low for a ball. 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, lined into right field. Is it going to stay fair? It just drifts foul. Wow. Maybe a bailout there for the Troy Haymakers. That just drifted foul. Looked good. Now it's the 1-2 pitch. That swung on, lined into right field. Right at the right fielder. Right at him. And that'll be an L9 on that play. Right fielder Clipper Flynn getting credit for the putout, and that'll bring up Art Allison, who's batting .357 so far this season. Here's the first pitch to Art Allison. That is taken down the chute for a strike, and it's 0-1. 0-1 pitch to Art Allison. Swung on, and that's grounded foul. Back to the screens, and it will be 0-2 the count. Pitcher's count here, 0-2. Let's see what he does. He throws one below the knees. That's taken for a ball. 1-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, that's grounded foul. And it remains 1-2. Here's the pitch. That's swung on, lined into left field. Drifting foul, and it will land foul. Still 1-2, fifth pitch of the at-bat. Here it is, and that's taken high and away for ball number 2. And so Art Allison doing well to stay in this at-bat. Sixth pitch of the at-bat coming, 2-2. Swung on, that's popped up. Right down the third base side. Over there to make the play is Ezra Sutton, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, nobody left on base. We go to the top of the third. We're still looking for our first runs of the game. We are going to take a quick 60-second timeout. We'll be back with more in just a minute. Right, welcome back. Top of the third here in Brooklyn, New York. Jimmy Holland, the shortstop, will be due up first. He reached via an error his first time up. Here's the first pitch to him. That's grounded over to second baseman. On to first in plenty of time. And that is the first out of the inning. That brings up right fielder Clipper Flynn. He laid down a sacrifice bunt in his first at bat. Here's the first pitch. That's taken high and away for a ball. And it is 1-0. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's taken below the knees. Ball 2. 2-0 to count to Clipper Flynn. And here's the delivery. That is right down the plate for a strike. And it'll be 2-1 now to Clipper Flynn. Flynn 2-1, taken for a called strike on the inside part of the plate. And now the count is even at 2-2. The 2-strike pitch. Taken inside, ball 3. And the count is full. Here is the payoff pitch. That's lined into center field. Is that going to drop? No, it's right at the center fielder. That's Art Allison making the play. And that'll bring up Ezra Sutton, who popped up to the catcher his first at bat. Here's the first pitch to Ezra Sutton. That's taken high and in for a ball. 1-0 pitch to Ezra Sutton. And it's a called strike. And it is 1-1. 1-1 pitch to Ezra Sutton now. Swung on, grounded over towards short. On to first in time, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, nobody left on base. We go to the bottom of the third. We're still looking for a score here. It is 0-0. Due up first for the New York Mutuals will be right fielder Charlie Pavor. Here's the first pitch from Harry Wright. Swung on, grounded over to short. Oh, and he's bobbled the fielding of it, and just like that, Charlie Pavor is aboard on an E6. A fielding error from the shortstop. That is Jimmy Hollander who gets the error. And that will be the first base runner of this game for the New York Mutuals. Right. Stretch, you got it. We'll stretch. We're taking a little break to stretch. Right, next up will be George Ewell, the first baseman. He's only batting .071 so far this season. He's got 1 hit in his 14 at-bats. He's also got just 1 RBI. His on-base percentage also struggling. 133 right now is his OBP. He's not really having a great time with the bat so far this season. Appreciate you, man. I almost lost my pencil there. Right. Charlie Pavor on first base. George Ewell at the plate. Here's the first pitch. A throw over to first, and it's back in time. Here's the first pitch. That's swung on and missed. Strike 1. Right, the 0-1 pitch. Taken in the dirt for a ball, and it will be 1-1. Right, the 1-1 pitch inside, ball 2. And now the 2-1 pitch. That's chopped over to third base. That's going to get the runner to second. On to first in time for the out. So 5-3 on the put out for George Ewell, but it does advance the runner into scoring position here with just 1 out. That brings up Pete Donnelly, the shortstop. His first plate appearance of the day. Here's the first pitch to Pete Donnelly. That's well inside for a ball. Right, the 1-0 pitch. That's a called strike on the outside part of the plate. And it is 1-1. Right, here's the 1-1 pitch. That's swung on, chopped in towards right field. That's a base hit. Down into right field. Is it Pete Donnelly's aboard? Pabor will go to third. And it is a single for Pete Donnelly here in the third. And that brings up Mike McGarry in the top of the order here in the third with runners on the corners and just 1 out. McGarry grounded out to short his last at bat. Here he is with the first pitch. That's taken away for a ball, 1-0. Here's the 0-1s. Oh, he checked swung. Did he go? No, says the first base umpire. And that is ball number 2. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Taken for a called strike. It's 2-1. 2-1 pitch to Mike McGarry. That's off the plate inside, and now McGarry has a hitter's count here with runners on the corners, 1 out. The 3-1. That is outside, ball 4. Mike McGarry is on via a walk, and that will load the bases. 1 out, and the bases loaded for Steve Bellin. The third baseman. Here he is with the first pitch. That's taken high and away for a ball, 1-0. 1-0 pitch, swung on, lined into left field. That's going to be runs. It's down, base hit. Coming around to score, or scoring on the play, will be Charlie Pabor. And Steve Bellin's got an RBI single. And the New York Mutuals have got themselves the lead. I just recorded it in the wrong inning. I do that all the time for some reason when I score. All the time. Right. Cal McVeigh is the next batter. He grounded out to short his last at bat. Bases loaded, 1 out still. Check swing, but it's a called strike anyway. 0-1. Troy trying to limit the damage here. Here's the 0-1 that's taken high and away. Ball 1. Here's a 1-1 pitch. That is a called strike on the outside part of the plate. And now, Harry Wright has him where he wants him. 1-2. Here's the pitch. Swung one. That's lined right back out to shortstop. It's caught. And nobody, thankfully, the runners do not misplace themselves from the bags. And so it's just the 1 out. Thankfully for New York, at least. That brings up Harry Burroughs, the left fielder. He popped out to the third baseman his last at bat. Harry Wright trying to get out of the inning with 1 run. He delivers the first pitch, and that is a called strike. 0-1. Here's the 0-1. Swung on, grounded over to the second baseman. Oh, it's a throwing error. It's a bad throwing error as well. That's going to score more runs. A really bad throwing error by the second baseman. And that gets Harry Burroughs over to second. Coming in the score is going to be Mike McGarry. Coming in the score is going to be Pete Donnelly. And going the third is Steve Bellin. And that is a 2-run error by the second baseman. That is Bill Craver on the error. That's a horrible time to have it. And now New York's got a 3-run lead. Runners in scoring position, 2 outs. Here's the first pitch. That's popped up down the right field line. It'll drift foul. It's Riney Walters at the plate. He's got 3 ribbies already this season. He takes the second pitch for a ball. 1-1 the count. Here's the pitch. That's looks like it was just off the plate inside. And it's 2-1 now to Walters. Here's the 2-1. Swung on. That's lined into left field. That's more runs. Riney Walters giving himself some support. He's going to have himself a triple. A 2 RBI triple as well. He clears the bases. Coming in to score is Steve Bellin. Coming in to score is Harry Burroughs. And New York have opened this game up in the 3rd inning with a 5-run 3rd inning so far. Still 2 outs. That brings up Art Allison, which means we've gone around the order here. Allison batting .333 with 2 ribbies. Here's the first pitch. He's grounded that back to the screens. It'll be 0-1. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's a wild pitch. And coming in, it's a passed ball, beg your pardon. And coming in to score is Riney Walters. And it's 6-0 New York. The base is empty now for Art Allison. Swung on and missed at the 1-1 pitch. That makes it 1-2. Here's the 1-2. Grounded over to third. And the ground ball they needed about 4 batters ago finally arrives. 5-3 on the putout, but it's not before they score. Oh, hold on, I didn't record that as a triple. It's not before they score 6 runs on 3 hits. And they leave nobody on base. We go to the top of the 4th. New York leading 6-0. We're going to take a quick 60-second timeout. We'll be back with more in just a minute. Right, we welcome you back. 4th inning here in Brooklyn, New York. The New York Mutuals have just opened up a massive lead. 6-0 on 3 hits and 2 errors in the inning from the Troy Haymakers. They're going to have to try and get back into this game. Fred Tracy will be the first batter for them here in the 4th. He reached on an error his first at bat. He also has a stolen base. Only 34 pitches so far for Riney Walters. Here is the first pitch to Tracy. That's popped up. Down the third base side. That'll be taken cleanly by third baseman Steve Bellin for the first out of the inning. That brings up Jim Foran, the first baseman. He's batting .286 in 28 at-bats so far this season. First pitch to him from Riney Walters. And that is taken away for a ball, 1-0. Right. The 1-0 pitch. Inside. Ball 2. And now Jim Florence giving himself a good count here to work with. There's the 2-0 he swung on. That's going to be lined into left field. Coming in as the left fielder, and he makes the play. And that will be the second out of the inning. Harry Burrows, the left fielder, making the catch. And that brings up Bill Craver, the second baseman. He flied out to center field his first at bat. Here's the first pitch. That's taken for a strike. 0-1. 0-1 pitch. Swung on right over to the first base sign. Taking it himself will be first baseman George Ewell. That's an unassisted 3, and that is 3 up, 3 down. They go down in order, Troy. We go to the bottom of the 4th. The New York Mutuals leading this game 6-0. Due up first for the New York Mutuals will be right fielder Charlie Pabor. First pitch to him from Harry Wright. That is a called strike on the outside part of the plate. 0-1. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That's high and in for a ball. 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. That's swung on and grounded foul behind home plate. 1-2 to count. Here's the pitch. High for a ball. 2-2. Counts even. Here's the pitch. That's grounded foul behind home plate. We stay at 2-2. Here's the pitch. That's swung on, lined into left field. A base hit. And Charlie Pabor reached base to start the 3rd. He reaches base to start the 4th. This time it's via a hit. And that'll bring up George Ewell, the first baseman. He grounded out to third base his last at bat. Man on first, nobody out. Here's the pitch. Throw over to first, and back in time is Pabor. First pitch, check swing. Did he go? Third base umpire, no, he did not. And it will count as a ball. 1-0. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. That is 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's lined right through the gap into center field. Pabor stops at second. Ewell's got himself a knock. And it's back-to-back singles here to start the 4th inning for the New York Mutuals. That brings up Pete Donnelly, the shortstop. He reached via a single his last at-bat. Here's the first pitch to him. That's taken low for a ball. 1-0. Here's the 1-0. Swung on. That's grounded foul down the third base side. 1-1 to count. Here's the pitch. Taken low below the knees. Ball 2. The 2-1 pitch. Swung on, grounded right at the plate. And the only play is for, he goes to second. Did he get him? Yes, he did. He got him at second base. 2-4 on the putout. It's a 2-4 fielder's choice. Going to third is Charlie Pabor. But Ewell gets gunned down at second base, sliding into second. And Pete Donnelly is on base on a fielder's choice. That brings up Mike McGarry. He walked his last at bat. He's 0 for 1 with a ground out and a walk. That's the first pitch. That's on the outside corner for a strike. Here's the 0-1. That's below the knees. Ball 1. Right, 1-1 pitch. Swung on, grounded right back to the pitcher's mound. Over to first. He got it. He beat it out. It's an infield single. Mike McGarry beat it out That means Pete Donnelly gets to second. They held the runner at third. And it means the bases are once again loaded. And they're once again loaded for Steve Bellin at the plate. Bases loaded. 1 out. Here's the first pitch to Steve Bellin. That's lined into left field. And that's going to be off the base of the wall. It's a base hit. It's going to be runs. It's going to be quite a lot of them. It's a triple for Steve Bellin. He clears the bases with a 3 RBI triple. Coming in the score will be Mike McGarry from first. Charlie Patbour scores from third. Pete Donnelly scores from second. And New York have really opened this game up now, 9-0. Catcher Cal McVeigh will be the next man up. He is 0 for 2 with a ground out and a line out. First pitch, that is a called strike, and it's 0-1. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Called strike 2, and it's 0-2 now for McVeigh. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That's grounded foul behind home plate. And he stays alive in this at-bat. Here's the 0-2. That's grounded over towards the shortstop. Oh, he's fumbled it. He's fumbled it. No way. The runner didn't go from third. But the shortstop, Jimmy Hollander, commits his second error of the night. And it gets Cal McVeigh aboard. That brings up Harry Burroughs, who oddly enough reached via an error his last at bat. He's 0 for 2. He's 0 for 1. No, sorry, he's 0 for 2. He reached via an error and he popped out. Here's the first pitch to Henry Burroughs. That's lined right at the shortstop. He goes to second for 1. They don't go to first, and Bellin scores. McVeigh, so Burroughs is aboard via a 6-4 fielder's choice, and it's an RBI. So runner on first with 2 outs now. That brings up Randy Walters, the pitcher. Here's the first pitch. That's taken high for a ball. Here's the 1-0. That's taken inside. Ball 2. The 2-0 pitch. That's down the chute for a strike. It's 2-1. The 2-1 to Walters. Swung on, grounded foul behind home plate. 2-2 now. Count is even 2-2. Here's the pitch to Randy Walters. It's below the knees. Ball 3. And we've got ourselves a full count. Here's the pitch. Swung on. That's lined into right field. Into right center field. But right there to make the play is center fielder Patty Quinn. And that finally will retire the side. Right. 4 runs on 4 hits. They leave 1 left on base. We go to the top of the 5th. It is 10-0 New York. We are going to take a quick 60-second timeout. We'll be back with more in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. Right, welcome back. Top of the fifth here in Brooklyn, New York. Troy trailing by a score of 10-0. And they've got center fielder Patty Quinn, who's going to be the first man up here in this inning. Quinn flying out to center field his last at-bat. Only 40 pitches so far for Ronnie Walters. Here's the 41st he delivers. It's outside for a ball. 1-0. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Outside again, ball 2. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Grounded foul down towards the first base side. And now it's 2-1. Here's the pitch. Grounded behind home plate. 2-2 now. Counts even 2-2. Here's the pitch. He lines that right back up to the shortstop. Over to first. That's in time for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Bill Lennon, the catcher. He singled in his last at-bat. No, I'm sorry. He tripled in his last at-bat. First pitch to him. Oh, he's hit by the pitch. And he will get aboard for the second time tonight. Not the way he wanted to get aboard. I'm sure that hurts. But he is aboard. That brings up Harry Wright, the pitcher. He grounded out to third base his first at-bat. Here's the pitch. That's taken for a called strike. It's 0-1. Here's the 0-1. Oh, it's a passed ball. It might be a wild pitch. It's a passed ball. And going to second for free is Bill Lennon. Right. 1-1 pitch. Swung on, lined into right field. That's a base hit. That's going to drop. Going to third will be Lennon. He will be held there. And Harry Wright gets himself aboard with a single. Now runners on the corners here for Troy with just one out. That brings up shortstop Jimmy Hallinan. He's 0 for 2 with a ground out, and he reached via an error. Here's the 0-2. Or here's the first pitch. It's a called strike. The steal is in, safe at second base is the call. And Harry Wright not only gets himself aboard, he gets himself a stolen base. And he's on second. That gives two runners in scoring position now with just one out. Also takes the double play ball out of effect here. Here's the 0-1. That's high. Ball 1. A 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, and that is strike number 2. The 1-2 pitch. Off the plate away. Ball 2. Here's the 2-2. Swung on. That's popped up. Right outside the pitcher mound. Coming as the second baseman, and he makes the play. Runners will stay where they're at, and that brings up Clipper Flynn, the right fielder. 2 runners in scoring position. 2 men out. Clipper Flynn is 0 for 1. He flied out, and he laid down a sac bunt. Here's the first pitch. That swung on, grounded foul behind home plate. Oh, 1 is a pass ball. And Bill Lennon comes in to score on the passed ball. Harry Wright goes to third. And Troy get a run back. 10-1 now. Here's the pitch. That's lined it over to shortstop. On to first, and he's got him in time. And that will retire the side. 6-3 on the putout. 1 run on just 1 hit, and they leave 1 aboard. We go to the bottom of the 5th, and it is 10-1. Due up first for the New York Mutuals will be center fielder Art Allison. Harry Wright on 80 pitches so far. Starting to look tired. But he's got Art Allison to deal with. Here's the first pitch to Art Allison. Swung on, grounded back over to second base. That's through the gap. And Art Allison is aboard with a leadoff single. One pitch, one runner. Art Allison aboard. That brings up Charlie Pabor. He's reached via an error and also a single. He's 1 for 2 so far today. First pitch, that's grounded over to short. On to first, it's a throwing error from the shortstop. That is Jimmy Holland's third error of the game. And now Charlie Pabor is aboard via an E6. It moves Art Allison over to second. And the struggles continue for the Troy Haymakers. They can't get anybody out for love or money at the moment. And that brings up George Ewell, the first baseman. He is 1 for 2 with a ground out and a single. This says 1 for 1 in the game, but I have him as a 5-3. Ah, damn. Where's the thing? Where's the thing? Is it game log? He came up in the third and the fourth. So bottom of the third, batting to Ewell. Oh, he sack bunted. I didn't even realize he sack bunted. Wait, go back to the game log. He sack bunted and then what happened? Was there an error on the play? No. Ball, sack bunt to 25. Play it first. Batter out. 5-3. Oh, yeah. And then what do you do in the fourth then? Bottom of the fourth. I have that. Oh, it's a sack bunt. I just had a 5. Okay. I forgot to put sack next to the 5-3. Okay. That's my bad. Right. Here's the first pitch to George Ewell. That's taken low for a ball. 1-0. Here's the 1-0. Called. Strike at the lettering. And it's 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. 1-2 is the count now. Here's the 1-2. That's lined into right field. Is it going to drop? No, it won't. Right there to make the play is right fielder Clipper Flynn. And that is the first out of the inning. Runners on first and second still. 1 out now. That brings up Pete Donnelly. He is 1 for 2 with a single and a fielder's choice. Here's the first pitch to Pete Donnelly. That is a called strike. 0-1. Here's the 0-1. That is, I don't know where that missed, but it was called a ball. And it is 1-1. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That's popped up behind home plate into the screens, into the crowd. And it will be 1-2. Right, the 1-2 pitch. That's inside, ball 2. 2-2 now. Here's the pitch. That's grounded over to first. On to second for 1, and that is all they get. So fielder's choice. 3-4 fielder's choice. That'll remove Pabor as a base runner. Art Allison goes to third. And now it will be runners on the corners with 2 outs now. That brings up Mike McGeary. He is 1 for 2 with a single, a ground out, and a walk. Here's the first pitch to McGeary. Swung on, grounded over to short. On to second for the force, and that will retire the side. No runs on 1 hit, and they leave 2 aboard. We go to the top of the 6th inning. It has been all New York by a score of 10-1. We're going to take a 60-second timeout. We'll be back with more in just a minute. Right, welcome back. 6th inning here in Brooklyn, New York. 3:33 in the afternoon here for this afternoon game. Deco, son, welcome in, man. Hope you're doing well. Right. Afternoon game here in Brooklyn, New York. And the New York Mutual's leading 10-1. Troy at the plate. It'll start with third baseman Ezra Sutton, who will face Harry Wright, who does not look tired. Only 57 pitches so far. Here's the first pitch to Ezra Sutton. That's away for a ball, 1-0. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well, Deco. I hope you're doing well. Ezra Sutton, by the way, is 0 for 2. He popped up to the catcher, and he grounded out to short in his 2 at-bats. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's lined right at the shortstop, and that'll be the first out of the inning. Left fielder Fred Tracy will be the next at-bat. He reached via an error in the first inning, and he popped up to the third baseman in the 4th. He also has a stolen base in this game. Here's the first pitch to him. That's lined into left field, base hit. And Fred Tracy's aboard for the... Oh, it's an error in the outfield as well. E7 is the call. That's Harry Burroughs with an error. And that gives Fred Tracy second base. You just finished watching MLB? Nice. Who'd you watch? What game did you watch? Jim Foreign is the next batter. He's popped up to the third baseman and flied out to left field. Here's the first pitch to Jim Foreign. That is taken down the center of the plate for a called strike, and it is 0-1. I saw the Schwarbomb for the Phillies. That was awesome. He had a grand slam. They won, what, like 12-3 or 12-4, I think, or something like that tonight? Right, here's the 0-1. That is lined into left field. That is deep. And right at the left fielder, though. And that'll be the second out of the inning. You watched the National lose 3-1 to the Crew. Who's the Crew? Who is the Crew in baseball? I could just scroll up in my chat and probably find it. In all honesty. If I could find it anywhere. I know see, my brain is so, I think of football so much that when you say the Crew, I'm like, the Columbus Crew or MLS? So now I'm like, who in the world is the Crew? You're from South Stream, Sir Million. Nice, man. So, the Brew Crew, right. Okay. The Brewers. I thought for a second it was the Brewers, right. Are you a Pirates fan yourself? Or right. Bill Craver is the next batter up, by the way. He flied out to center field and grounded out to the first baseman in his first 2 at-bats. Right. I'm sorry, not the Pirates fan. Are you a Nationals fan? Sorry. You mentioned the Pirates. Or no, I read the Pirates. You didn't mention the Pirates. I read the Pirates. Wow, I'm all over the place. Are you a Nationals fan? I'm going to put it that way. You said nothing about the Pirates, and I just assumed the Pirates because I was just looking at the Pirates score. That's a whole Freudian mix-up and a half there. But yeah, I like Pirates of the Caribbean only. Very nice. Very nice. Well done. Well done. Yeah, I meant to ask if you were a Nationals fan. Sorry. Here's the first pitch to Craver. That is taken on the outside part of the plate for a strike. There's the 0-1. That is popped up behind home plate. Over there to make the catch is the catcher, Cal McVeigh, and that retires the side. No runs on 1 hit. They leave 1 aboard. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It is 10-1. New York. Due up first for the New York Mutuals is third baseman Steve Bellin. He's having a heck of a game himself. He's got 4 RBIs on a triple and a single. Also grounded out to the shortstop. Harry Wright still on the mound. Here he is with the first pitch to Steve Bellin. That's taken high and away for a ball. 1-0. Here's the 1-0. Taken for a called strike. And it's 1-1. Here's the 1-1. Swung on and missed. And that is strike 2. 1-2 pitch now to Steve Bellin. That's swung on, lined foul down the left field side. You're an American fan now. I'm not sure I follow. Here's the 1-2. That is below the knees for a ball. 2-2. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Outside, ball 3. And now the count is full for Steve Bellin. 3-2. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on, lined into left field. Right at the left fielder, though. And he makes the play. Fred Tracy on the putout. And that is the first out of the inning. That brings up catcher Cal McVeigh. He is 0 for 3 with a line out, ground out, and he reached via an error. The 100 pitch from Harry Wright is called strike at the lettering in the shirt, and it's 0-1. Here's the 0-1. Lined right in between the gap into center field, and Cal McVeigh has got himself a single. Harry Burroughs will be the next batter. He is 0 for 3 with an RBI. He popped up to the third base. He reached via an error, and he reached via a fielder's choice. Here's the first pitch to him. That's lined right into center field. It's going to be a base hit. Going to second base is going to be Cal McVeigh. He will hold there. And it's back-to-back singles now for the New York Mutuals. Here's the first pitch to Riney Walters. That is grounded over the third, on to first, and it's an error on the third baseman a throwing error on Ezra Sutton. And E5 gets Ronnie Walters aboard. And just like that, it goes from bad to worse for the New York Mutuals. 0 for 3? Yeah, I am 0 for 3 trying to figure out who you support as a baseball fan. But the bases are now loaded for Art Allison. I actually don't have any baseball commands written up for Out of the Park. I do have one. I think it's just OOTP as my only command. Of course, I didn't have my command page loaded, so I couldn't tell you. But I think it is just OOTP. Yeah. Oh, I don't even have it active. Let me turn it on. I'm an idiot. I didn't even have it active. Thank you for doing the exclamation point E, because that, yeah, that made me realize my OOTP command's not even active. So there we go. Now it is. I should make an error command. I don't know. I'm not clever enough to know what to write, aside from whoopsie daisy. Right. That brings up Art Allison, center fielder. He is 1 for 3 so far today. He's got a single, a ground out, and a pop-up. Here is the first pitch to Art Allison. That is lined right at the second baseman for the second out of the inning. Charlie Pabor will be the next batter. He is 1 for 3, reaching via 2 errors and also a single. Here's the first pitch to him. That is grounded over to short. And he throws it onto second base, and that will retire the side. No runs on 2 hits, and they leave the bases loaded. We go to the top of the 7th. It is 10-1 for the New York Mutuals. We're going to take a quick 60-second timeout. We'll be back with more in just a minute. Right, welcome back. 7th inning here in Brooklyn. New York Mutuals have a 10-1 lead. Ronnie Walters still pitching for the New York Mutuals. He's on 64 pitches. And due up first for the Troy Haymakers will be center fielder Patty Quinn. He's flying out to center field and grounded out to the shortstop in his 2 at-bats so far today. Here's the first pitch to him. Oh, that is a called strike. He checked the swing, but it's in there for a called strike anyway. You drink Dunkin' like donuts? Not really. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That is a ball, 0-1. I mean, I like Dunkin' Donuts, but I don't really. It's expensive, and I haven't been to it in about probably over a year, in all honesty. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Inside, ball 2. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That is taken for a ball, and it's 3-1. Hitters count here for Patty Quinn. The 3-1 pitch. And that's chopped foul behind home plate. The count will be full, 3-2. Here's the payoff pitch. That is taken outside for a ball. And Patty Quinn has done well to get himself aboard to lead off the 7th here for the Troy Haymakers. Next up will be catcher Bill Lennon. He had a triple in the 2nd inning, and he was hit by the pitch in the 5th. Here's the first pitch to him from Ronnie Walters. That is taken for a called strike, 0-1. Have I heard of the Seattle Pilots? I have not. Is that a minor league team? I'm assuming Seattle Pilots would have been a minor league team, like a AAA or AA. Here's the 0-1. That is lined into right center field, and going over to grab or make the catch is center fielder Art Allison, and that will be the first out of the inning. That brings up Harry Wright, the pitcher. He's currently 1 for 2 with a ground out and a single. First pitch to Harry Wright. That is popped up into right field. And it just drifts foul. Here's the 0-1. That is taken inside. Ball 1. And the count is now 1-1. There's the pitch. That's inside, ball 2. 2-1 pitch now is taken for a ball 3. And Harry Wright has a hitter's count here. He's lined up right at the shortstop, over to second for 1. And Harry Wright will be aboard via a fielder's choice. Right. That brings up the top of the order, and Jimmy Hallinan, the shortstop. He's 0 for 3 with a ground out, a pop out, and reaching via an error. Here's the first pitch. Check swing, but he didn't go, and it's high for a ball, 1-0. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That is swung on and missed. Strike 1. I was a Braves fan, then Pilot, now Brewer. Oh, okay. I've just been a Phillies fan because I was born and raised in the city. The Phillies are the only team from Philadelphia outside of the Union, the Philadelphia Union, but they're the only team from Philadelphia I actually support, and have since I was a kid. The Union I supported since, like 2014, but I was not a kid by 2014. I was already an adult. So the Phillies are the only team growing up that as a kid in the city that I am still a fan of today. W fan, thank you. I know we tend to get a bad reputation. I'd like to think I can change that reputation, but it's a different. I'm not going to not be passionate about my team, obviously, but Right. 1-1 pitch to Jimmy Hallinan. Swung on and missed. And it is 1-2. I changed allegiances in ice hockey. I don't really enjoy basketball, and I don't really enjoy American football. So I can't say I'm an Eagles fan. I can't say I'm a Sixers fan. Especially after what the Sixers tried to pull in the city and in Chinatown. Definitely not a Sixers fan. But I've been a season ticket member at the Union for. Next season, I think, is going to be my 11th season. So, right. Here's the pitch to the 1-2. That is lined right at. Oh, the shortstop's dropped it. And that's an error on the shortstop. E6. And Hallinan is aboard. It'll be Pete Donnelly who has his second error of the game. And that is runners on the first and second with 2 outs here. All those teams were in Milwaukee at one point. Dub, Lombardi. Really? Really? I never knew that. Milwaukee, man. What do the teams Milwaukee have? The Bucks. I actually don't mind the Bucks. I hope they win with Giannis. I think that'd be awesome. They have who else do they have? Milwaukee. Obviously, they have the Brewers. I like them. They're a pretty nice organization. SoCals. What's going on, man? And then I don't think Milwaukee doesn't have an ice hockey team, and they don't have a. Well, Green Bay would be the closest thing, right, to the NFL team, which I don't mind the Packers because my best friend is a Packers fan. One of my best friends in the whole world is a Packers fan, so I can't hate the Packers. So Milwaukee Admirals is ice hockey. Yeah, that would be ECHL or AHL, one of the two. What's going on, SoCals? How you doing, man? I actually had to console my friend on 4th and 26 back in that day and age. But yeah, she was devastated when that play went down. But she's seen her team win, so you know it all comes true in the end. Hope at least for her it did. Right, we got Joe Simmons who's going to be in for. Hang on, we got a pinch hitter in the 7th inning. So Joe Simmons comes in for Clipper Flynn. I'm all good, man. It was a pleasure playing Peak with you a few days ago. Let's go. Yeah, man. Likewise. We're going to be back at it Thursday. We do have a whole group of 4, unfortunately, but I am streaming it on Thursday. So, and I'm always looking to play that game. I love that game. That game is so much fun. Right. Joe Simmons coming in for Clipper Flynn. Here he is. First pitch. He swings at it. It's going to be a base hit. Joe Simmons delivers. And he's got himself a single here. Going to third base is Harry Rank. Going to second is Jimmy Hollinan. Crack Attack Central is in. Welcome in, Crack. Let me give you a shout out, my guy. I should give Going Off Games a shout out too, by the way. I totally forgot about him. So let me give him a shout out, and then I'll give you a shout out, Crack. But salutations, my man. Brand new Football Manager streamer, by the way. We're going to be playing Peak with him on Thursday. Going Off Games. Here he is playing FM24. Why is it got to be that clip? Why has it got to be the clip that he's where's my Peak invite? Bro, do you own the game, Crack? I didn't think you owned the game, my man. But if you own the game, I'll definitely get you next time, bro. Same with you, SoCals. If you're around as well, I'll definitely get you as well. So I can do. Yeah, it's cheap. It's like £7.50, I think, for you. So it's pretty fucking cheap. Right. Joe Simmons is aboard. We're going to have another substitute, by the way. It depends on the date, but just let me know. I'm always down. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I will do so. So I will usually post something in. Are we in a? Do we have a mutual Discord, SoCals, that we're in? I don't know if we're in any mutual Discord, but if we are, I usually will poke around in some Discords to ask. I'll make a note to ask you on Twitch. Honey Badgers Discord. Yeah, right. That's right. I'll probably poke. I'm definitely. I mean, you saw me ask him as well earlier in the week or last week. So I'll definitely ask you as well next time when we want to play. Join me. That will be a mutual. Yeah, honestly, we could do Honey Badgers, SoCal's you and I crack, but the only thing about you and I crack is the time difference we have to bridge, right? Because it's 5 hours between us. Right. Stepping up to the plate to replace Ezra Sutton will be Pony Sager. Pony Sager is 0 for 5 so far this season at his plate appearances. And he will take the first pitch from Riney Walters. And that is a passed ball. And that is going to bring home Harry Wright, who scores. And Troy get another run back. Going to third is Jimmy Hallinan. Going to second base will be Joe Simmons. And just like that, Troy has got a second run. You're in the UK, but I am very much a night out, right? Case in point here, it's 3:21 p.m. or a.m. I get that, crack, but, you know, I want to be a little bit respectful of you and not be like, hey, do you want to play at 1 a.m. in the morning? You know what I mean? We start playing at 1 a.m. 0 for 5 is bummerish, yeah. Not really a pinch hitter, is he? Right. It's still early in the season, though, Deco, to be fair. I'm Irish, so same time zone even. Right. Here is the 1-0 pitch to Pony Sager. That is lined into center field. Will that get down for a base hit? Center fielder coming forward? No, it won't. That will be a fly out to center field. Making the catch is Art Allison, and that retires the side. That brings up the famous 7th inning stretch. And as always, when we do here, please enjoy a time-honored tradition here in America and the 7th inning stretch with this rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. There you go. You heard the man. Play ball. Let's get back to it. It is the bottom of the 7th inning here. And big anthem here in America, of course. It is bottom of the 7th inning here in Brooklyn, New York. The Troy Haymakers, by the way, previous inning, one run on 1 hit, and they left 2 aboard. Sorry, I put 0 runs. That's 1 run in the top. So it is now 10-2 here for the New York Mutuals. Bottom of the 7th. And we continue on with, let me mute Firefox audio now, back off that scene. And we continue on here. It'll be George Ewell, who was up to bat. As someone who doesn't watch baseball, I was confused but loving it at the same time. They play that. That was a time-honored tradition. They played it at every baseball game in the middle of the seventh inning. Every single baseball game. So, right, still Harry Wright on the mound with 105 pitches. George Ewell, the first baseman, will be up to bat. He is 0 for 2, so he's 1 for 2 so far today. He has a single. He flied out to right field, and he also had a sacrifice bunt. Here is the first pitch from Harry Wright. And that is high and away, ball one. It is 1-0, the count. Here's the pitch. That's lined right back to the shortstop, and that'll be gloved for the first out of the inning. Shortstop Jimmy Holland making the play. That'll bring up Pete Donnelly, the shortstop for the New York Mutuals. He is currently 0 for 3. He is 1 for 3. He's reached via two fielders' choices, and he has a single as well. First pitch from Harry Wright. That is a called strike, and it's 0-1. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That is grounded over to second base. On to first in time, and that'll be the second out of the inning. 4-3 on the putout. That brings up second baseman Mike McGeary, but we're gonna have another substitution this time. So McGeary will finish his game 1 for 3 with a single, 2 groundouts, and a walk. And coming in for him will be Harry Berthrong. Here's the first pitch to Berthrong. That is a called strike. It is 0-1. Berthrong is 0 for 2 so far this season. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That is swung on and missed. 0-2. In a hole is Berthrong. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That's taken low for a ball, and it is 1-2. The 1-2 pitch. High above the lettering, and it is 2-2 now. Here's the 2-2. That is lined into left center field, popped up even, and making the play is the left fielder, Fred Tracy, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, nobody left on base. We go to the top of the 8th, and it is 10-2 for the New York Mutuals. We'll be taking a 60-second timeout. We'll be back in a minute with more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. 8th inning here in Brooklyn, New York. Home side, the New York Mutuals leading this one by a score of 10-2. And due up first for the Troy Haymakers will be left fielder Fred Tracy. He is 1 for 3 so far today. I'm sorry. He's 1 for 3 so far today. He has a single. He reached via an error, and he popped up to the third baseman. Also has a stolen base. Ronnie Walters still on the mound here for the New York Mutuals. 84 pitches so far. He's pitching strong. And here's the first pitch, too. The rain is beginning to fall. Okay. But it clears up. Because, yes, we can't play in the rain. Here's the first pitch to Fred Tracy. That is grounded foul down the third base side. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That's below the knees for a ball, and it's 1-1. Here's the 1-1. That is popped up, flying towards the third base side, and that is going to be the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Jim Foran, the first baseman. He is 0 for 3 so far today. He has 2 flyouts and a pop-out. Here's the first pitch to Jim Foran. That is taken below the knees for a ball, 1-0. 1-0 pitch. Grounded over towards the second baseman. On to first in time. And Jim Foran is left hitless in this game. Right. That brings up Bill Craver. He's also hitless in this game. He has a flyout, a pop-out, and a ground-out. If you're wondering, by the way, if you guys that haven't been here earlier, wondering why I keep looking down, we are scoring the game. We have a scorebook. And every game that we record has these scorebooks. Or is recorded on these scorebooks. So I have the whole 1871 season so far in this scorebook. Right. First pitch to Bill Craver. That's taken low for a ball. 1-0. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's taken high for a ball. It's 2-0. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That's below the knees. Ball 3. And now Craver, is he going to have the green light to swing? Nope, that ball comes right down the chute. He'll take it for a strike. 3-1 pitch here to Craver. Lined right at the shortstop, and that is the final out of the inning. 3 up, 3 down in the top of the 8th. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The New York Mutuals leading this by a score of 10-2. 2 up first for the New York Mutuals will be Steve Bellin, but he's being substituted off. And coming into bat for him will be Mike Brannock. Or Brannock. So he comes into bat. It is his first at-bat of the season for the New York Mutuals. Leading 10-2. Harry Wright still on the mound. Here's the pitch to Mike Brannock. That is taken for a called strike at the lettering. It looked a little high to me, but the umpire called it a strike, and it's 0-1. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That's lined right towards the right field side, and it goes foul. 0-2 will be the count. Here's the 0-2. Chop foul right behind home plate. It'll remain 0-2. Here's the 0-2. That is lined. It's a base hit. Oh, it's just over the shortstop. And Mike Brannock on his first at-bat this season gets aboard with a single. That brings up catcher Cal McVeigh. He's currently 1 for 4. He's got a single, reached via an error, and he's got a line out and a ground out. Here's the pitch from Harry Wright. That is lined right at the shortstop. That is the first out of the inning. Sorry, I put Brannick in the wrong inning here. I got to erase him from the 7th. So McVeigh lines out to the shortstop. That'll be the first out of the inning. That'll bring up left fielder Harry Burroughs. He is currently 1 for 4. He has an RBI, fielder's choice, reached via an error, popped up, and also has a single. The 120th pitch from Harry Wright. That is lined into left field. Drifting foul, and it just lands foul. 0-1 the count. Here's the pitch. That's lined right at the first baseman, and he takes it himself to the bag. It's an unassisted double play. And that ends the inning. Unassisted double play. Brannick ran. The ball was hit right at the first baseman. He gloves it, and Brannick could not go back to first to tag up. Stepping on the bag is Jim Ford, and he gets an unassisted double play. And just like that, the inning is over. No runs on no hits. No runs on 1 hit. Nobody left on base. It is the final inning here in New York. We're not even going to go to commercial break. We're going to kick on. Because the ads, I think, are still 43 minutes away. So we'll kick on with the final inning. And leading off for the Troy Haymakers will be center fielder Patty Quinn. He is 0 for 2 with a walk, a ground out, and a fly out. First pitch to Patty Quinn. That's popped up in the infield, over towards the first base side. And that'll be gloved by the first baseman, who is now George Ewell, I should say. And that'll be the first out of the inning. That brings up Bill Lennon, the catcher. He is currently in this game 1 for 2. He flied out. He had a triple, and he was also hit by the pitch. First pitch to him, Bill Lennon. Here it is. It's in the dirt for a ball. Right, here's the 1-0 pitch. That's popped up. Drifting foul down the first base side. It will go foul. 1-1 pitch. That's lined to foul down the third base side now, and it will drift foul. 1-2 pitch. Outside, ball 2. The 100th pitch from Harry Wright. Here it is. That's lined over towards the first baseman. Foul. The 2-2 pitch. That is high, ball 3. Here's full count. That's taken outside, ball 4. And Bill Lennon has drawn a walk. He's got 2 walks, one by being hit by the pitch, one by a base on balls now. That'll bring up pitcher that'll bring up pitcher Harry Wright. He is 1 for 3. He has a fielder's choice, a single, stolen base, and he grounded out. Here's the first pitch from Randy Walters. That is taken for a strike, and it is 0-1. Here's the 0-1. That's lined into left field. Is it going to be a base hit? It is. Harry Wright gets himself some support. It's a base hit. Is he going to circle third to come home? No. Bill Lennon will stop at third base. And Harry Wright has got himself a double here. His second hit of the afternoon. And Harry Wright, the pitcher, with 2 hits. Lennon goes to third base. And now it's 2 runners in scoring position with just 1 out here in the top of the third. Jimmy Hallinan is up to bat. He is 0 for 4. He's reached via an error twice. He's popped out, and he's grounded out. Riney Walters the pitch. Swung on and missed, and it's 0-1. Here's the 0-1. That is a called strike, 0-2. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swung on, grounded over towards the second baseman. On to first, in time for the second out of the inning, but it's an RBI ground out for Jimmy Hollinan. 4-3 on the put, but it is an RBI. And Troy gets one back as Lennon comes in to score. And Harry Wright has gone to third base. Runners on the corners now with 2 outs here. That brings up Joe Simmons again, the right fielder. He had a single his last at bat. Here's the first pitch. That is, it's a pass ball. Coming home is the runner. He's going to be safe. And scoring on the play is Harry Wright. And Troy gets another run back. It's 10-4. Right, here's the 2-0, the 1-0 pitch. That is check swing, but he didn't go, and it's below the knees for a ball. 2-0. Here's the 2-0 pitch. That's popped up. Drifting foul down left field side, and it does go foul. Right, 2-1 pitch here. Grounded over to first. Taking it to the bag himself will be George Ewell, and that will end the game. They get 2 runs on 1 hit, and they leave nobody on. The final score here is the Troy Haymakers 4, the New York Mutuals 10. New York will improve to 3-1 on the season. Troy Haymakers are going to drop to an abysmal 1-6 now. We're going to go over the box scores now. Let's get the old pen out here. Pen on the score sheet. We're going to go through line by line each batter, and we'll go through the pitcher statistics as well. I'll need the game's help for the pitcher statistics, but I'm going to use my score sheet for the batter statistics. Shortstop Jimmy Hollinan finished. Let me back up here. Shortstop Jimmy Hollinan finished 0 for 5. He had 5 at-bats. He did not have a single hit. He did not score a single run. He did have an RBI, and that is he also had 3 fielding errors. Clipper Flynn, who was subbed out in the 7th inning. Oh, by the way, let me. It was Joe Simmons who grounded out at the unassisted at the end of the game. I put it under Clipper Flynn. He got subbed. Right, so Clipper Flynn got subbed in the 7th inning. He finished with 3 at-bats, not a single hit. He did have 1 sacrifice bunt, and that is it. Right, Ezra Sutton also got subbed in the 7th inning. He had 3 at-bats, not a single hit. He also made a fielding error. Fred Tracy, the left fielder for Troy, he finished with 4 at-bats. He had 1 hit, and he had a stolen base as well. Jim Foran, the first baseman, had 4 at-bats. He did not record a single hit. Bill Craver, the second baseman, he had 4 at-bats. He did not record a single hit. And you're killing me with the posture check right now. Okay. And he also had a fielding error. Fair play, though. Fair play. Patty Quinn. He had 3 at-bats. He had a base. He did not have a single hit. He had a base on balls as well. Bill Lennon, the catcher, he had 3 at-bats. He had a base on balls. Okay. He had a triple as well. And he had a run. No, he had 2 runs. 2 runs. I'm sorry. He only had 2 at-bats because he was hit by the pitch and he walked. So he finished 1 for 2, Bill Lennon, with the triple, and he scored 2 runs. He did not any. Yeah, that's we're good there. Harry Wright, he had 4 at bats. He finished with 2 hits. One of them was a double. He also scored 2 runs, and he had a stolen base. Finally. Oh, hold on. There we go. Let me do this. This goes here. F8 on Tony Seger. Right. Joe Simmons, he finished 1 for 2. So he had 2 at-bats. He had a hit. And then Tony Seger had 1 at-bat. And he had no hits. Right. Total at-bats for the Troy Haymakers. 5, 8, 11, 15, 19, 23, 26, 28, 32, 33, 30. I'm sorry, 35. So I have 35. That game has 34. I have 35. Where did I go wrong? Where did it all go wrong? Did I count him? He should have 2. He does have 2. He should have. Oh, yeah, he should have 3. He has 3. He should have 4. He should have 4. He should have 4. He should have 3. He should have 3. He should have 5. Yes. Unless I counted the sack. I counted the sack as an at-bat. That was the problem, right? I counted the sack as an at-bat by accident on the total. So 34 at-bats. They scored 4 runs. Hit-wise, they had 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 2, 4, 5. I have 5 hits. They have 5 hits. Good. 1 double, 1 triple, 1 base on balls, 2 base on balls, 2 base on balls. No strikeouts. Stolen bases were 2 for Troy. They had 1 sack. They had how many? They have 1 RBI. And then the pitcher statistics very quickly for Harry Wright. I have him at finishing at 121 pitches. He pitched 8 innings because they did lose. I'll come back to the hits. Riney Walters. I have him at 111 pitches. He pitched all 9 innings. I'll come back to him. Oh, earned runs for Wright. That's what I want. 10 runs in total, but only 3 were earned. So 10 runs, 3 were earned. And then strikeouts were 0. I'll come back to base on balls and hits in a moment. Of course, I did that, and then I dropped the cap like an idiot. Right. Let's do the batting statistics for... Oh, fielding errors, by the way. Fielding errors for Troy. 3 by Hallinan, 1 by Sutton, 1 by Craver. So that finishes with 5 errors I've got. Is that what they had? Yes, good. Right, let's do the New York Mutuals really quickly. Mike McGeary, he had 4 at-bats. He had 1 hit. He had 1 base on balls. He also scored 2 runs. Steve Bellin, he had 4 at-bats. He had 2 hits. 1 of them was a triple. He scored 2 runs. And he scored 4 RBIs, which was an insane game from him. I would argue player of the game. Cal McVeigh had 5 at-bats, and he finished with a single hit. He didn't even score a run. How about that? He got on base twice and didn't score a run. Harry Burroughs had 5 at-bats. He had 1 hit. He scored 1 run. He had an RBI. He also made a fielding error. Ronnie Walters had 4 at-bats. He had 1 hit. It was a triple, and it got him 2 RBIs. He also scored a run. Art Allison, he had 4 at-bats. He had 1 hit. Charlie Pabor had 4 at-bats. He had 1 hit, and he scored he scored 2 runs. Beg your pardon. George Ewell, he had 3 at-bats. He scored 1 hit, and he had a sack. And then Pete Donnelly, He scored. Where did I fuck up on Harry Burrows? Oh, because I subbed in. He flied out to. I put that under Mike McGeary, and it was Harry Burrows who came in and flied out to left field for him. Right. So I just corrected that. So my scoring needs to get better. Right. Pete Donnelly, 4 at bats. He had 2 runs. He scored one. He had 1 hit as well. And then Harry Burrows, I just put it under Mike Brannick as well. And Brannick didn't. God darn it. It's Harry Burrows who flied out to left field in the 7th inning. Right. So Harry Burrows, 1 at bat, no hits. Mike Brannick, 1 at bat, 1 hit. And that is that. Right. So total at bats for the New York Mutuals. 4 is 8, 5 is 13, 18, 22, 26, 30, 37. I have 39. They have 38. The fuck did I mess up again? I counted McGeary's base on balls. That was the issue. As an at bat. There we go. Right. So that puts the total at bats at 38. Runs 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. Hits 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, that's correct. Doubles mixed in there. Did they have? I could have sworn they had doubles and triples. They scored all the runs. They had 1 triple. Everything was a single or an error. Or a walk. That's crazy. Oh, they had 2 triples. They had 2 triples. Wow, no doubles. 2 triples, though. They also made, I have 4 fielding errors. And no strikeouts. I think they stole 1 base. Then they had no stolen bases. They had 1 sack. I know that. And they had 7 RBIs. How about that? Right. Harry Wright, base on balls. Base on balls. 1 base on balls. So Harry Wright had 1 base on balls, gave up 11 hits. And then Riney Walters had 2 base on balls, no strikeouts, and gave up 5 hits. What was Riney Walters' runs and earned runs, by the way? 4 runs and only 1 of them earned. Wow. Right, there you have it. That's that. In the books. Score sheet complete. Sorry for taking a little extra time to correct my score sheet there. But I thank you guys for your patience. So, what is the next game? We're pretty much done for the night, but let's show you what the next game will be. So, Troy Haymakers fall to 1-6. Let's go over the standings very quickly for you guys as well. Now that the New York Mutuals are up to 3-1, we'll continue into the next day, by the way, and then we'll go from there. Right. Here are your standings. In the American League, the Boston Red Stockings lead the division, or they lead the American League right now, 5-2. They're a game ahead of the Philadelphia Athletics. The Cleveland Forest Cities sit 2 games back at 2-3. The Washington Olympics are 2 games back at 1-2. In the National League, the New York Mutuals, that game puts them at the top only because of the games in hand. It's actually the Fort Wayne Kekiungas who have a half-game lead over them currently at 5-2. And then it's the New York Mutuals at 3-1. The Chicago White Stockings are right now 1-1. The Rockford Forest Cities are 2-4. And the Troy Haymakers sit at the bottom of the National League at 1-6. What is the next game for you guys? Let's continue. There's no games on the 14th of May or the 15th of May. And the 16th of May, the next game is the 16th of May. And I think we are going to pick the big one. The New York Mutuals, the National League, 3-1 New York Mutuals against the American League, 5-2 Boston Red Stockings. It should be a great game, by the way. Boston Red Stockings, by the way, Deco, if you're still here, they became the Atlanta Braves, believe it or not. So let's have a quick save of the game. But that is the next game. We'll probably schedule it for Monday, next Monday, and then I think the weekend after. This weekend we won't have it. I'll be playing probably Pyongyang, some casual stuff on Sunday. No stream on Saturday. Next Monday will be New York Mutuals and Boston Red Stockings, and I think we're going to squeeze a game in the following weekend on maybe Sunday. Here for Out of the Park Baseball as well. But that is that. Right. For those on YouTube, thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video. The 3-1 New York Mutuals, the 5-2 Boston Red Stockings should be a great game. We'll see you then. Until then, thanks for watching. Take care.